please don't play other people's game. If you're new here, welcome. My name is William Jiamin, and this is my digital memoir. And today I want to share my personal experience as well as the lessons I learned in life. Don't play others' game. I have multiple experience of starting up companies and find opportunities in life and try to create something new. And throughout this maybe decades of entrepreneurship and more than 20 years of working experience, I want to share one lesson that I learned the hard way. That is, if you play others' game, you will never get enough for yourself. Just hear me out. So, for example, imagine this. Imagine you and a few people in this world maybe start up a completely new things, okay? And you work so hard to get that thing, and you want to protect it, okay? You get all sort of patterns, sort of entry barriers, and all sort of strategies, and you like hire the best mind in this world, try to protect what you have created. And then you become a industry, and you just like a cash cow, just completely give you money, earn your money, and what would you like to do? And what would you and your friends, just a few people, like to do? You want to protect your game, okay? Because you created a game, and then all this like latecomers come to this game will have to follow your rule, okay? Whether it's employee, whether it's competitors, because if you are like so new to the game, you can even set standards, okay? You set industrial standards, you might push forward some legislative law, something like that, and you sort of control everything, okay? As long as in your game, you won't be able to lose. So, for example, you are employee, okay? You go to that industry, you work really hard, you learn all these rules, which is just set out by this old timers who got there earlier, albeit they work really hard for it. They already written the rules, and you memorize it, you learn it, and you obey it, and you work for the workflow that's set by this newcomer, by this the people who set this game, and you just become a cog in a really complex gaming machine, and you can't possibly jump out of the game once you take part in the game. The more deeper you the more time you spend playing in this game, the deeper you sort of sink into the quicksand of the game that's set by the others. So, for example, you got, say, student loan, you got debts, you got family to raise, you got like mouths to feed, right? So that sort of push you to accept the condition that the game provides you, and you have to spend all the time you have to work for the game, and become really, really hard as time goes by. I'm not a young kids anymore. I'm not a teenager. I don't have that kind of energy. So after long days of work, and which is the workflow that's set up by your employees and by your employers, and you get exhausted, and become really hard for you. Use your spare time to actually study something, or actually create something, or some side gig. You don't have time for that, especially if you in a in Asia or in other countries that who is have a really workaholic culture, and it's really focus on efficiency. You're under a lot of pressure, so you don't have the time to improve yourself, and you just sink into quicksand and you can't get out. So the longer you play, the less likely you will be able to jump outside of this game. And kids, if you're watching, here's my lesson. Don't play this game the first time. Don't try it and don't play it. And try to create a game of your own. Just hear me out. So, for example, I like two of my previous is kind of successful, but I consider it kind of failure companies. The main business model is that I sell things, okay? But I need a platform to sell things. And albeit that platform is a sort of like industry standard, but when you go to that platform, you sell things, and you work really hard, say for 1 year, but you earn a decent amount of money, and you exclude this the compensation you paid for the employees, the like managerial fees and the R&D and all these taxes, and of course the huge amount will go to the platform who provide the service, which means it's a huge tax. It's even greater tax than the government. Okay, this is a huge tax. After you take everything out, what is left for you is, here is my trick, rule of thumb, the GDP. Okay, so it's if it's a developing country, it might be that 4 or 5%, and if you are in America, like developed country, you get just maybe 1 or 2%, and that is the whole years of work that you earn. And the funny thing about this is that if you have that amount of money, you can just save it in the bank or invest that in the financial market. You can still get greater return than this. So why bother? If it is the case, why bother to do this? Work hard whole year and just get this tiny amount that you can already get if you just save the money in the bank or just invest some low risk investments. You can still get that. So that really got me thinking, because the market is like invisible power that can sort of test you in every part, and everything, as long as other people's game, every part, every process, every workflow, every the sellers, the buyers, all these forces that work magically. That's my first personal opinion, as well as my personal experience, is that I feel everything just push, and everything's at the brink of collapse, but it's not collapsing. So for example, the price just set to a certain level that if it's higher, consumer will buy less, or they won't just buy it, or they will just turn to the competitors. If they're less, you earn less, and that is the price that the market will decide. And for example, the salaries that you work as employees, that price for you is just at the verge of collapsing. Okay, so if it's like a tiny little bit lower, and then you will just quit your job and find another job in the competitors. Okay, so just I feel that everything's at the verge of collapsing, but it's not. So in this way, you stuck in the game, and you sort of become the slave of the whole machine. You become a cog, and that kind of a bigger machine will make you think that, hey, you work for all these hours, and the system kind of just to give you don't have the energy or mental ability for average person to jump outside of this game. Okay, you just stick there, and you dare not to go to the competitors. You dare not to change the field. You dare not to change another work, or everything will just like domino will collapse, because everything is just at the verge of a collapse. This collapse and this collapse. For example, you quit job, you try to change something, and then you won't pay the loans, and you won't pay the loans. You know, the house or your car got taken away, and you won't be able to find the jobs, and you just go to the, go to the bottom of your life and just to sink into oblivion. Something like that. And it's kind of this fear, as well as the whole design of this game, just try to stop you to earn the fair share. Okay? That's from my previous two business, and I began to realize that you have to create something completely new game in that sense. It's not like a completely new, you have to invent something, okay? But you have to have a certain rule that you think of, okay? As I think as an entrepreneur, you sort of need to find opportunities in this market. Maybe some loopholes, maybe some opportunities, something like that, and you take advantage of it. You streamline it, and you modularize the thing, and you hire people, and we're just like a factory, okay? Constantly input, output, sale, revenue coming in, okay? And like material coming in, whether it's tangible or intangible. By the way, in this digital age, you can get intangible inputs. So for example, some of the training material, something like that, go through your model, got outputs. Output provides, say, API for other companies, and then revenue come in, some business model like that. In my case, I believe when you watch this video, the world already changed a lot, so it might be different business model. You must be better than me. The world must be better. So, but I just want to make a point. So, find opportunities, streamline this opportunity, modularize it, hire people, or hire, say, AI, or find whatever ways of solving the problem. You might like using AI, like agent, something like that. Replace that, modularize it, streamline it. That's how business works. Once you do that, you have to make your own game. Don't like the less, or you can't get too extreme, okay? So you can't say, hey, I don't rely on any other platform. I do everything from scratch, because it's like a globalized world. It's a kind of an interdependent. But the more part in this streamlining process is dependent on others. Say, for example, if you want to sell something, okay, and that you can't find the customer, you can't like directly contact the customer, you can't like find the customers. You have to use some advertisement service, something like that. So this module of the whole streamline process is sort of depend on other people, and that's a bummer, and that's the thing you don't want to happen, especially if you want to create something. Okay, so the less dependence of every module, the more robust of your game is, and you begin to realize that you can earn so much more, you create so much more in your life, rather than just work as a cog in other people's game. Okay, so for example, you go to college, you learn a lot, and maybe you got like a master degree, something like that, PhD. But all that, if you use what you learned, just become a cog. I'm not saying this is wrong or this is not a good life. I'm saying that you can think, you know, an alternative way of solving problems, like entrepreneurship, way of dealing with the same thing. And as long as you don't play out this game, you can see that huge part of the cash outflow, like a fee or whatever tax. So it's not tax, it's like Apple tax, some sort of tax. It's like the fee that you pay all the companies or other services, something like that. You don't play that game, you play your own game, and you can control more things. And then you begin to realize that you can control life as well. Because I think Steve Jobs said something like, the rule is set by people no smarter than you, something like that. Okay, you have to realize that everything you learn, or be it is some like regulations or law, something like that, it's just set by people, and you are people. Okay, so you can set up your own rules. It's not like you have to, push for some legislations, but if you create your own game, you start your own business, make your own rule, make this your kingdom. That's what I learned. And thanks, bye.